Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Tuesday, and all of our guests today, including Jamie McLennan, standing by, brought to you by Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. Delaney's OK Tire Langley and Aldergrove inbox. Colin from the Caribou. Rick Lickermecki most likely had an infection set in after his surgery. It's agony. We didn't think about that.
That's a good point.
Right?
Very
no matter what
point.
the surgery was, there could have been an infection involved.
Yeah, great point.
After his oral surgery. Noodles joins us now. I'm sure he's happy to hear about Leckermacki's possible mouth infection. Noodles from TSN, Jamie McLennan, Game 6 Stanley Cup Final tonight. Panthers with a chance to wrap it up against the Oilers. Jamie, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. How you guys doing today?
Good. Very well, very well. Stuart Skinner is going to start tonight for the Oilers. Do you understand Chris Knobloch's thinking there?
I do, because, you expect Calvin Pickard. He was 7-0 going into that game 5. At some point, he's going to lose a game. But ultimately, the guy who got you there, and what I mean by that is Stuart Skinner has been the number one goaltender for 2 years in a row. He got them to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year. Yes, there were some dips in his play, especially against the Vancouver series. And there has been an inconsistent season this year. But when you look at it, he played in 82 games collectively last season, played in a whack of games this year, was injured down the stretch, has had some consistency issues. But I think what they're doing is saying, this is the guy we drafted, we developed him, he's been our number one. We're going to go back to our number one. And he does have a good record in elimination games. So you've got all these stats, you've got all these other things, but I do think one thing. Stuart Skinner, his ceiling is higher than Calvin Pickard's game when he's playing at his best. What they're going to ask is their starting goaltender to play at his best. He's been pulled in games 3 and 4, and he lost game 7 here. So 3 games in a row in the playoffs versus the Florida Panthers, he's lost 2-1, and then he got pulled in the 6-1 drubbing, and then got pulled after the first period in game 4, even though, to be honest, I didn't think he played bad, but they had 13 high-danger chances to 1. It was more of a mercy pull, but Stuart Skinner needs to be at the top of his game, and he has to be better than Bobrovsky or as good as him tonight if Edmonton is going to force this to a 7th game.
I've asked this of other people, Jimmy, but what do you notice about Stuart Skinner when he's on his game and when he's off his game?
Okay, so when he's on his game is quiet. Uses his size to his advantage. He's a big goaltender at 6'4", 220 pounds. So basically forcing shooters to go around him. Nothing through the body. He's efficient in the net. Now, it goes hand in hand. The team, if they play well in front of him defensively and don't give up a lot of seam plays, then Skinner's really effective. Where he gets in trouble is when the team in front of him gives up too many east-west plays and Skinner gets opened up. Because I think he's average or below average in his lateral movement. That's where Calvin Pickard's a better goaltender than him in moving side to side. So that's the biggest challenge. Florida's going to try and open him up and get him moving side to side because it's not as clean. It's not as fluent. But if Edmonton can defend well, then Skinner can front the puck, be big, and force them to go around him. So it kind of goes hand in hand to the play in front of him, but he has to have some urgency in this game. He can't go chasing the puck, but he can't be lethargic in the net. He has to be explosive, especially side to side, to try and give himself an opportunity to make those saves.
Hey, Jamie, I heard you talking with Elliot Friedman about Abbotsford-Charlotte Game 1 overtime, and off the face-off, the Abbotsford put the puck in their net, but Silovs wasn't ready, and Charlotte thought they scored. Here it is right here, and Charlotte thought they scored, and the game was over. It was called back. What's your read on this? What happened?
Well, I think Silovs was fixing his gear, and he wasn't taking some water. He was just relaxing, resetting. And I think the linesman got a little bit horny and was like, okay, let's get in here and drop the puck. I'm like, what is going on? Because I do believe that there might have been a little bit of a short conversation with the ref we'll call it to the right of Silovs when he's facing towards the net. Over to the right is the main referee. And I think there was some words said. So, it is the responsibility of the linesman to check to see if the centerman is in, but also to see if everybody is set. You can actually, I believe you see either the linesman or the center referee going, hold on. So once they huddled, I thought it was the right call. Yeah. I mean, what are you doing? Like, you're dropping the puck a little bit premature. Now, you can give a warning to the goaltender and say, you got to be ready here. When everybody's in, you got to be ready. You're not buying time. But I thought it was the right call. Yes, it's a internet sensation, and excuse me, and watching it, it was outrageous because he was facing the net. He wasn't even afforded an opportunity to make that save. So they made the right call, and good on the refs for huddling to make sure that the call was made properly.
Hey, Jamie, what do you think of Silovs' 21st straight start tonight? He's really put the team on his back all the way to the Calder Cup. But you got this situation where you got Lankinen and Demko. We don't know Demko's future because he hasn't signed an extension yet. But you think this kid's ready for we thought he was ready 12 months ago, but you think with this Calder Cup run, he's that much closer to the NHL in your eyes?
100%. And keep in mind, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that he's eligible for waivers this year.
He is.
This next, not making it through waivers.
Yep.
So they've got decisions to make. Are they going to go with Lankinen and Silovs and move on from Demko? Or are they going to keep Demko and Lankinen and trade Silovs and get something back for him? I said this before. I know it's weird. I don't know if you remember me saying this, but I would have offer sheeted him last year because it would have really put Vancouver in a tough spot because they were pod committed to Demko financially, all of that. And as we've seen, offer sheets do work. Of course, the player has to sign them, but Dylan Holloway signed like $2.3 million. Edmonton couldn't match it because they couldn't squeeze under, or they felt they could move past the player and bring in others. I mean, Edmonton's not going to complain right now. They're in a cup final. But in the end, I think Silovs has an ability to be a very good NHL goaltender. So it might cost you money, term, all of that type of stuff if Vancouver wants to try and keep him. But I think Silovs is an NHL goaltender, and I think he's going to get an opportunity. If it's not with Vancouver next year, it's going to be with somebody else because I think he's ready. He's done everything he can at the AHL level. Sometimes you push through, and it's up to the organization to give you an opportunity.
Hey, back to the Stanley Cup final for a second, Jamie. We don't hear a lot about this. I'm not really sure why, but how much do you think the Oilers miss Zach Hyman?
A ton. I can't. So we know, and listen, and nobody is healthy. Nobody in that Stanley Cup final this morning woke up and saying, I don't have something that's nagging me. So I'm just going to lay that out there because I guarantee you that we're going to hear that Kachuk is fighting through something and Sam Reinhart and guys like that. But RNH hasn't been skating. So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is not healthy. That's, a top-line player. And then you got Zach Hyman, who led the playoffs in hits. He's an engine. And so they miss him massively because not only is he kind of a spiritual leader in that room, he is an engine that is a leader by example with his work ethic. So, yes, if Edmonton loses, there'll be lots of excuses. The goalie, and hey, they just didn't have as much depth as Florida and all of that type of stuff. And you got to give credit to Florida. But they miss Zach Hyman a ton. And that's where I thought a guy like Evander Kane can be a difference maker because he's an unpredictable player. He's big. He's kind of a unicorn. He reminds me of a Tom Wilson. There's only a few of them in the league that can do what they do. But Kane has been, unfortunately, influential in a negative way because he's taken too many stick penalties and he hasn't been a difference maker. So when I circle guys on that roster, it's easy to go, 97 and 29 have to play better or be difference makers. I would say it's that second tier of guys that Kane, RNH, throw in Trent Frederick, Adam Henrique. They need guys to really break through here and help extend this series if you're on the Edmonton side.
And depth is where Zach Hyman would certainly help. He's more than a depth player, of course. Do you ever have any problems in terms of oral surgery during your career at all, Jamie?
I probably should. You guys have seen my chiclets. They're not beautiful,
they look
I'll
good.
tell you that. They're white. I do brush them 3 times a day. So they're white and they're mine. Yes. I always add in a third brushing. But There's a space in between. I probably should have had braces when I was younger. I had a chip in one where I got a slap shot off the face. My kids, their teeth will be a lot better than mine. My wife always says that. But I haven't had some crazy, unfortunate, we'll call it oral mishap. Other than the fact that, I could just do a better job of having better teeth. But, I don't need giant piano keys like Matt Damon and Something About Mary or anything. But I would eventually, maybe when I retire, I've got a big giant set. But I have never had anything like what you guys were talking about before I came on.
Yeah. It was Matt Dillon. By the way,
Matt Dillon.
I believe.
Oh, yeah. What did I say? Matt Damon?
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt
Damon.
You had the Matt
Sorry,
right.
Matt Dillon. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chompers. The Chompers.
I love the Farrelly brothers. I'm sorry to correct you, but I had to make it. Not bad for a hockey player, Jamie. The teeth are looking great.
Absolutely. Not bad, but I was a goaltender. And as you guys know, I didn't play a lot. So I could really kind of hang out on the sidelines and brush my teeth if I had to.
Next time we'll talk to you one way or another. A Stanley Cup champion will have been crowned. Jamie, thanks for this.
Thanks for having me, guys.